One of them's local. Another one happened halfway across the country. Always glad to hear stories like that. We're going to get to that just a little later this hour. But next Tuesday, we've talked about this a lot this week. Next Tuesday is Election Day. If you live in St. Louis County, I talked the other day to one of the election directors for St. Louis County, Rick Stream. He told me they've taken to sending out little cards for individuals. Here's the beauty of this. Remember, you used to get one for your household? For everybody at this household, you'd get one card. Now they send them out to individuals. And if the individual doesn't live there anymore, they're not allowed to forward it. It gets sent back to the Board of Elections so they know that there's something wrong with this person's address. Whereas before they didn't have that information. So they're making some advancements in that. But anyway, you got your voter card. You know what's coming up in your particular district. There's a big election in the city of St. Louis. And the Republican candidate for mayor is Andrew Jones. We've had him on the show before, but I wanted to give him another opportunity for people to hear his ideas here. Mr. Jones, thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You have been a busy guy the last 2 weeks.
Well, it's been a whirlwind, but we're looking forward to getting the job done. So nothing's too busy, nothing's too over the top. We're certainly trying to get the message out to the people about there's a great alternative to the standard status quo, and we want to move us forward.
Well, the shame of it is that it is the status quo, and that they're so arrogant about it that they didn't even want to have a debate. Is that correct? You never haven't had a chance to debate in this race right now, correct?
We have not had an opportunity. We certainly embrace it. If someone wanted to debate with me this evening, I feel confident about our position, our platform. So I'll talk to anyone at any time. Just give me the opportunity. But it seems like people are shunning from wanting to talk with.
Well, of course they are. They don't want anybody to find out anything about you and present an alternative to Ms. Cruson, who they seem to think is going to just waltz into this. Here's what I want to give you an opportunity to do. Tell my audience, the people that listen, the people who are voters in the city of St. Louis and are going to have an opportunity to go out, tell them what you would like to see done differently in this city.
Accountability, transparency, responsibility, fiduciary responsibility, doing the things that make absolute sense, doing the least amount of harm. When you go forward with projects, we're going to vote on this Proposition 1 and 2, and I submit to everyone that I can make a reasonable argument on why those prospects and those propositions should not be before the people to vote on, because none of them makes real economic sense, and it certainly doesn't take place to help young people. It doesn't take place to help older, mature stakeholders, citizens within the city of St. Louis that only ask for more and more of their tax revenue. And we certainly don't want to get tax money for these types of initiatives. So certainly we want to improve upon those decision-making obstacles that help the city to move forward.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, and it's going to, they just keep going back to the well for more taxes. I mean, the effective sales tax rate in the city is, like 12 cents or something like that?
12 cents. Yes, it's in that range, 12 cents.
At some point you've got to get some sanity in there, but it just seems to be that everybody. I know Paul Berry pretty well, and I know he's been pretty active in this. And he posed a good question on social media the other day. What percentage of people who live north of Interstate 70 are going to, or north of what did he say? Was it Market? Are going to come downtown for these soccer games, for this big, $180 million soccer stadium we're supposed to have in a team. What exactly does it do for the people that need the help the most in the city?
Well, most of those initiatives, they don't produce the revenue or the return on investment that they project or people say that they should deliver. They are certainly something that you would put on the balance sheet as a goodwill component part of it, but as far as delivering those types of things, jobs, economic return, things of that nature, they certainly don't do it. What they do is provide goodwill. They provide feel-good notions, but they certainly don't deliver to the people, and we shouldn't be involved with that type of thing. And I also submit that we should not be picking winners and losers, because one thing in economic development that we know that most people ignore, most municipalities and cities ignore, are the existing businesses that exist, and we're giving new people coming in a leg up and a competitive advantage over those who have been here for years, contributing to the tax rolls of the city and all the municipalities that exist, and we ignore them and we give to others. And I'm certainly saying we shouldn't be involved with that either.
We're talking to Andrew Jones, who's the Republican candidate for mayor in the city of St. Louis. You can go to his website, andrewjonesformayor.com, and read more about him and more about the issues that he thinks are important. The police chief, Sam Dotson, came out yesterday and was saying, well, if Prop P passes in the county and those guys are making more over there, we're going to have an even harder time maintaining, our current police force with the salaries we pay. Clearly, he's thinking ahead that, we need to be paying our police officers more over here, too. What about law and order? What would you do differently in the city?
Well, certainly I would. One thing that I know that I want to do is I want to get rid of the violent element of crime within the city of St. Louis. I certainly want to make sure that we're deploying our personnel, our police personnel, effectively and efficiently. And I also want to be involved with make sure that we're utilizing the best practices and policies for a policing agency the size of St. Louis, particularly when we're trying to get rid of narcotics that contributes to the overwhelming majority of these violent crimes that are plaguing our city. We don't have a narcotics division nor a vice division, so certainly we have to do something about those particular things because that's the only way we're going to solve the problems, and we're not doing the things to solve the problems.
Sure, yeah, and you mentioned education. You need to have a school district that is attracting residents and not a situation where people decide, well, I want to live in the city, but I'm going to have to pay extra money to send my kids to a private school.
That's unfortunate, and that's something we need to move away from. Certainly, we don't have direct control as mayor of the city of St. Louis, but we can use our bully pulpit to help build an infrastructure, help build a value system within the parental part of this whole thing that I think is the most critical component part of it, to get parents involved more so that we can utilize the state-of-the-art curriculums, infrastructure, and everything else that exists within the city public school system. But we certainly need to get more involvement from parents so that our children can exceed and excel, because we know the number two, or 1A and 1B, the number two reason that people leave a city is because of poor education, and we have to sure that part up.
Boy, that's the truth. What kind of reaction are you hearing in your run for mayor?
Well, as far as regular citizens and stakeholders for the within the city of St. Louis, we are getting a great response. Our message is resonating. Certainly, we don't have the big war chest like as our competitor has to get the message out more, but we're steadily seeing momentum pick up, and we're going to just keep working the ground game and getting people exposed. And it's great programs like this and you that will give us an opportunity to speak to people so people can hear us and look at that option that exists that will absolutely help to change this 66-year retrogression of the city, to turn it around, to change its trajectory so we can start having a positive image for St. Louis, and we can move forward to make wealth and create wealth and to put our position in a place where people can have a great standard of living and quality of living.
Well, you would be a refreshing alternative to the folks that normally have run for and achieved this position. I wish you the best of luck, Andrew Jones. Go to his website, andrewjonesformayor.com. Read up on what he's about, and there's a little button on there. You can even contribute if you want to, or if you can volunteer. There's a place. There's just all kinds of information on there, and I would encourage people to go there and check it out and give you a hand if possible over the next few days.
Well, without you, we wouldn't be this far, and certainly without the people, we wouldn't be this far. So thank you, and I hope everyone will go there to find out more, and thank everyone for considering.
Well, have me in the mayor's office after you get elected. How about that?
Certainly.
All right, I'll look forward to that. All right. Mr. Jones, thank you. Yep, have a good day. Thank you. Andrew Jones, wanted to get him on there, and I know we've had him on before. In a city where you haven't had a Republican elected in 60 years, you see the shape it's in. It would be refreshing. So I'd certainly do anything I could. Well, what a shame that they wouldn't have a debate set up. But the assumption has been for so long that whoever wins the Democratic primary just gets coronated as mayor, and it's unfortunate. Casey Cordes, who we had on the show, who had to try to go to court. It sounds like the powers that be did their best to keep her off the ballot because she would have attracted more of the progressive vote away from Lyda Krewson. And if people are looking for alternatives, I recommend you look at Andrew Jones. I mean, honestly, on a lot of issues, but pretty soon then I'm going to